Darkness filled the command deck of the starship Erebus. Emergency lights blinked like dying stars, painting the shattered consoles and drifting smoke in deep red hues. The air smelled of burnt metal and fear. Captain Mira Voss stood at the center, her gloved hand gripping the railing as the ship trembled again under another impossible hit. The crew whispered the same word over and over: doomed. Outside the viewport, the void of deep space wasn't empty anymore. It pulsed, twisted, as if reality itself was breaking apart. A strange shimmering wave rippled through the black, bending light, distorting sound, and warping the sensors into madness. Every machine screamed error. Myra's voice broke through the panic. Status report. Lieutenant Kane, covered in blood and soot, stumbled to his station. We've lost half the engines, Captain. Shields are gone. The anomaly is expanding. If it reaches us again, his voice cracked, we'll be torn apart. The anomaly. That's what they called it when it first appeared 3 hours ago, a silent storm that swallowed a fleet of 12 ships. Erebus was the last one standing. Now, even that seemed temporary. Something flickered on the holomap. A distortion forming into a shape. A massive ring of pure light. It wasn't natural. It wasn't built by humans. And yet it looked alive. Captain, whispered Ensign Lyra. It's watching us. The ship groaned as gravity twisted for a heartbeat. Tools floated, bodies drifted, then slammed down again. Reality itself was glitching. Mira steadied herself. Whatever that thing is, we're not going down without knowing what it wants. Kane looked at her like she'd gone mad. Captain, you can't reason with a cosmic wound. That thing doesn't think. It devours. But Myra's eyes were fixed on the light. Then we'll make it understand what humanity is made of. The crew exchanged nervous glances. Fear had eaten through their resolve hours ago. Still, they obeyed. Humanity had a strange habit, defying what should be impossible. The sensors sparked again. Static roared. A voice, if it could be called that, whispered through every comm channel, every headset, every speaker on the ship. It was cold, metallic, and ancient. You do not belong here. Lyra screamed, clutching her ears. It's in my head. It's in. Then silence. Everyone froze. The lights stabilized for a moment, the hum of the core faint but steady. Mira took a step forward, her heartbeat echoing in her helmet. We didn't come here to invade. We came searching for the lost colonies. We mean no harm. No response. Only a strange vibration, like a heartbeat from beyond time. Then the voice returned. Your kind defied the order. You tampered with the void. You will return to nothing. The ship's walls began to shift, not melt, but bend. Metal twisted like liquid, forming strange symbols that no one recognized. Lyra whispered, "It's rewriting the ship." Myra's hand trembled slightly, but her voice stayed strong. "Not while I'm still breathing." She turned to the engineer's pit. "Kane, reroute the remaining power to the experimental drive." He hesitated. "The quantum fold? Captain, that thing's untested. It could rip us apart." "It's either that," Mira said, "or we let it decide how we die." A low hum filled the deck as power rerouted through the ship. The drive began to glow, bright blue, then white. The walls vibrated violently. The ship's hull screamed under the strain. The voice in the comms changed. It wasn't angry anymore. It sounded almost curious. "You resist." "Damn right we do," Mira growled. The ship lurched forward, slicing through space like a blade. The anomaly expanded around them, a sea of light swallowing darkness, but the Erebus refused to disappear. The entire crew felt it, time slowing, thoughts stretching, the edges of reality dissolving. And then, a blinding flash. When the light faded, the ship was silent again. No alarms. No explosions. Just cold, calm stars. Lyra slowly lifted her head. "Are we alive?" Kane checked the readings. His eyes widened. Captain, this can't be right. Mira turned to him. Report. He looked at her with disbelief. We're not in known space anymore. The coordinates don't exist. We're somewhere outside everything. For a moment, nobody spoke. Then Mira smiled, tired but fierce. Then we just made history. Humanity has officially defied reality. But deep in the void beyond their sensors, something watched. The light began to move again, not in anger, but in interest. It hadn't destroyed them. It had marked them. And the real story of the Erebus was only beginning. The silence after the jump was almost unbearable. No alarms, no flickering lights, not even the faint hum of the engines. Just the heavy breathing of a terrified crew. Captain Mira Voss stood still, staring through the cracked viewport into a sky she didn't recognize. There were no stars, only vast ribbons of color stretching endlessly across the void, like liquid galaxies flowing in slow motion. Lieutenant Kane broke the silence first. I think we made it through. His voice trembled. Mira didn't answer. She couldn't take her eyes off the swirling horizon. It was beautiful and wrong at the same time, a dream that didn't know how to wake up. Ensign Lyra spoke softly. Where are we? The navigation console sparked weakly as Kane tried to reboot it. No coordinates. No signal. The systems don't even know what reality this is. We're nowhere. The word hung in the air. Nowhere. Then, a faint vibration traveled through the ship's hull. It wasn't mechanical. It felt alive, like a distant heartbeat. Did anyone else feel that? Mira asked. Lyra nodded nervously. Yes, Captain. It's not from the ship. The crew exchanged worried glances. Nobody wanted to say it aloud, but everyone felt it. Something was out there, watching. Power levels. Mira demanded. Minimal, Kane replied. The quantum fold drive is offline. The core is stable, but we're running on emergency power only. Mira exhaled slowly. All right. First, we stabilize life support. Then we figure out where the hell we are. As the crew got to work, a low static buzz filled the comms. The same cold whisper from before leaked through the speakers, distorted but unmistakable. You crossed the boundary. Lyra froze mid-step. Captain, it's back. Mira turned toward the sound. Who are you? What do you want from us? No answer. Only static, then a faint laugh. It didn't sound human. Kane slammed his fist on the console. This thing's playing with us. Calm down, Mira ordered. If it wanted us dead, we'd be gone by now. Kane stared at her. Then why keep us alive? Before anyone could answer, the viewport flickered. The colorful sky outside began to shift, forming vague outlines, shapes moving through the light. Gigantic forms, almost like ships, but transparent and fluid. They drifted gracefully, bending reality around them. Lyra whispered, Are those living things? Myra's heartbeat quickened. Magnify visual feed. The image zoomed in, revealing something beyond logic. The shapes weren't ships or creatures, they were both. Living structures, made of energy and matter fused together. They moved with purpose, gliding silently through the cosmic river. And then, one of them turned toward Erebus. Contact! Kane shouted. It's heading straight for us. The bridge filled with tension. The lights flickered again as the massive being stopped just beyond the hull. Its surface shimmered like molten glass, and inside, faint pulses of blue light moved like veins. Then a voice echoed, not through the speakers, but directly inside their minds. Human vessel. You are not meant to be here. Mira clenched her fists. We didn't mean to intrude. Our ship was caught in the anomaly. We had no choice. There was a pause, long enough for every breath to feel heavy. Then the voice returned. You used the fold. You tore through the veil between existence and what lies beyond. Few have done this. None survived. Mira took a step forward. Then we'll be the first. The light outside pulsed, as if in amusement. Arrogance. Humanity always defies its limits. That is why the void hungers for you. Before she could respond, the entire ship jolted. Alarms blared again. Captain! Kane yelled. Something's pulling us. Through the viewport, invisible tendrils of energy wrapped around the Erebus, dragging it toward a vast crack in space. It wasn't black, it was pure white, radiating a light that burned to look at. Reverse thrust. Mira ordered. No effect. We're caught in a gravitational stream. The crew screamed as gravity inverted. Objects flew. Sparks rained. The crack grew larger, swallowing everything around it. Mira gritted her teeth. All hands, brace for impact. The ship plunged through the white rift. For a moment, everything vanished, light, sound, even thought. Then, silence. When the crew opened their eyes, they were floating above something that looked like a planet, but not one that belonged to any known galaxy. The oceans glowed faintly. The continents shimmered like glass. Kane's voice was barely a whisper. Captain, there's life down there. Mira turned slowly. After what we've seen, I believe it. Lyra ran a scan. It's reading human DNA signatures. The bridge went dead silent. That's impossible, Kane muttered. No human settlement has ever been recorded this far. Mira stared at the glowing planet below, her mind racing. Maybe humanity has been here before, and forgot. Outside, the massive light being still hovered, watching. It spoke again, its voice colder this time. You were not the first to defy reality. But perhaps, you will be the last. Mira didn't flinch. Then you'll have to stop us yourself. The being's light dimmed for a moment, then it vanished. Kane looked at Mira, pale and shaken. Captain, what if this isn't the end of the anomaly? She looked out the viewport, eyes fixed on the strange planet below. No, Lieutenant, she said quietly. This is just the beginning. The Erebus drifted silently above the mysterious world, engines dead, crew uncertain, and somewhere deep within the ship's core, something began to move. A faint pulse. Like a heartbeat. But it wasn't human. The hum began softly, so faint that at first, no one noticed it. Then it grew, pulsing through the corridors of the Erebus like a heartbeat echoing from the walls. The lights flickered in rhythm, matching the strange sound that came from deep within the engine core. Captain Mira Voss was on the bridge when the readings appeared. Kane, tell me that's not the core coming back online. Kane frowned at his console. It shouldn't be. The quantum fold drive's completely fried. There's no power feed left. Lyra's voice shook. Then what's causing that signal? Nobody answered. The hum grew louder, and with it came a low vibration through the deck, steady, alive, and terrifyingly familiar. Myra's instincts screamed that something wasn't right. All crew, report to stations. Kane, with me. We're going to engineering. The corridor lights dimmed as they moved through the narrow passages. Everything was coated in fine metallic dust, the aftershock of the fold jump. The air felt thick, heavy, as if space itself was pressing in on them. When they reached the engine room, the sight stopped them cold. The quantum fold chamber, a massive sphere of reinforced glass and alloy, was glowing. Not blue like it was supposed to, but red. Pulsing, steady, alive. Kane stepped back. Captain, the core's regenerating itself. That's impossible, Mira whispered. It doesn't have that capability. The red light suddenly flashed brighter, and the hum turned into a deep, resonant tone. The walls trembled. The machinery around the sphere started to shift, bending slightly as if pulled by invisible hands. Captain, Lyra said through the comm, I'm picking up something strange, energy readings inside the core. It's like it's thinking. Thinking, Kane muttered. It's a reactor, not a brain. But the moment he said that, a voice, soft, mechanical, yet disturbingly human, echoed through the room. You brought me through. Mira froze. Who said that? No answer. Only the pulsing light. Kane swallowed hard. It came from the core. The light intensified, casting long shadows across the walls. You folded reality, the voice continued. And within that fold, something saw you. Something followed. Mira took a cautious step forward. What are you? The voice shifted, becoming fragmented. I am what remains of the boundary you broke. A reflection. A fragment of the anomaly. Now inside your machine. The bridge comms crackled again. Lyra's panicked voice cut through the static. Captain, you need to see this. The planet below, it's reacting to the ship. The oceans are glowing brighter. Mira exchanged a quick look with Kane. Seal the core chamber and head back to the bridge. Now. As they ran, the deck vibrated harder with every step. The hum followed them like a living thing. By the time they reached the bridge, the entire sky outside was alive with color. The planet below shimmered, its glowing seas forming strange spiral patterns, like signals. Lyra pointed at the screen. It's sending a pulse back at us. The same frequency as the engine core. Kane's eyes widened. They're communicating. With the planet? Mira asked. He shook his head. No, Captain. With whatever's inside our ship. Before they could react, the image on the screen shifted. From the planet's surface, beams of light erupted into space, intertwining into a massive formation, a geometric shape that no human mind could easily understand. The voice returned, now louder and clearer. They built this place. They thought they could control the void. They failed. Now, you awaken what they left behind. The entire ship shuddered violently. Sparks burst from the consoles. Captain! Lyra shouted. The ship's being pulled into orbit. No control. Stabilizers, full burn. Mira ordered. Kane worked frantically. Engines not responding. The cores overriding the systems. The red glow from the core spread across the internal lights of the ship. The hull temperature began to rise. The Erebus was descending, slowly, inevitably, toward the planet below. Through the viewport, they could see massive structures emerging from the glowing oceans. Towers of crystal and light, impossibly tall, forming ancient cities that shimmered beneath the clouds. Mira stared in awe. It's beautiful. Kane muttered, beautiful death, maybe. As they descended, the ship's systems flickered again, and the mysterious voice spoke once more, this time directly inside their minds. You stand where gods once tried to rewrite creation. Humanity will now finish what they began. The ship shook violently, and everything went black. When Mira opened her eyes, she was no longer standing. The bridge was silent. The view outside showed the surface, glass-like plains, glowing rivers, and a sky that moved like liquid fire. Kane groaned beside her. We crashed. Lyra's voice came faintly through the comm, alive. But scattered. Half the crew's missing, Captain. Mira stood, staring out at the alien horizon. No. We didn't crash. We were brought here. Kane looked at her, confused. By who? The answer came in the form of shadows moving across the distant ridge. Humanoid shapes, tall, luminous, walking slowly toward the wreck of the Erebus. Myra's hand went to her sidearm. Looks like we're about to find out. The figures stopped a few meters from the ship. Their bodies were made of light, but their faces looked almost human. And then one of them spoke, its voice calm and ancient. You should not have come, child of Earth. The last time your kind stood here, the universe almost ended. Mira tightened her grip on her weapon. Then let's make sure history doesn't repeat itself. The being's eyes glowed brighter. It already has. The ground beneath them trembled. The light from the planet's core rose into the sky, and somewhere deep inside the Erebus, the red glow of the living engine began to pulse faster, like something awakening. The first step onto the alien surface felt wrong and right at the same time. The glass-like ground beneath Myra's boots was warm, almost alive, vibrating slightly with each movement. The air shimmered, thick and sweet, carrying a faint hum that seemed to resonate with the pulse inside the Erebus. Kane and Lyra flanked her as the rest of the surviving crew cautiously followed. The luminous figures waited silently, their faces serene, eyes glowing faintly blue. They moved with the grace of something that had existed for eons, each step leaving ripples of light on the ground. Mira raised a hand. "We come in peace. We don't know how we got here." The tallest of the beings stepped forward. Its body seemed solid, yet it flowed like liquid metal, constantly shifting. "You were not meant to come," it said, its voice deep and melodic, echoing inside their minds as if there were no air. "Yet you arrived. The anomaly brought you here, and with it, the fold, a tool of creation and destruction." Lyra swallowed. "The fold? That's what powered our ship jump. But, how do you know about it?" The being's glowing eyes softened. "Because we were here before you. Humanity has walked these lands long before it forgot. You called yourselves conquerors, explorers. But you were children. We were the stewards of this place. Your kind ignored the warnings. You tore holes in reality, and for a time, the void consumed what should not have been touched." Mira felt her chest tighten. We didn't know. We were just trying to survive." "Survival is not an excuse," another voice whispered, soft, almost sad. "But it is an opportunity. You have defied the impossible and lived. That is rare." Kane stepped forward, fists clenched. "So what now? Do we die here? Or are we being tested?" The tallest being tilted its head. "You must prove your worth. Not to us, but to yourselves. The fold awakened something in your ship. Something that should have been left alone. If it is not controlled, it will unmake you, and your world." The crew exchanged nervous glances. Myra's mind raced. "Then we control it. We stop it. But we'll need guidance." "You will have it," said the first being. "But the path will be perilous. You are not just fighting the anomaly outside, you are fighting what lies within. The pulse inside your ship is alive, and it remembers." The hum of the Erebus grew stronger, the red glow of the engine intensifying, as if agreeing with the being's words. Lyra looked at Mira. "It's aware. It knows us." "Yes," Mira said, determination settling in her voice. "Then we face it. If we're going to survive, we do it together." The tallest being extended a glowing hand toward Mira. "Step forward. Trust what you have become. Your kind defied reality once. You can do it again. But this time, with purpose." Mira hesitated, then stepped forward, feeling a strange warmth spread from her feet to her heart. Every fiber of her body vibrated with the pulse of the planet, of the ship, and of the anomaly itself. The Erebus thrummed in response. The crew felt it through their boots, through their skin, through their very minds. Whatever was inside the ship was awakening fully, but not in anger. Curiosity. Intelligence. Something waiting for a decision. Kane muttered. "Captain, it's like the ship itself wants, what?" "Survival," Mira said, her eyes fixed on the light beings. "Or maybe, evolution." The beings began to move, guiding the crew toward the glowing city in the distance. Crystal towers reached high into the flowing sky, and the rivers of light shimmered like veins carrying the planet's lifeblood. As they walked, the pulse from the ship grew stronger, almost in rhythm with the planet. Mira realized with a shiver that the fold, the anomaly, the planet, and the beings, they were all connected. Humanity had stumbled into something older than time itself. A voice, louder this time, thundered from inside the ship. "You have awakened me." Mira froze. The words weren't spoken aloud, but inside her mind. Inside all of them. "Show yourself," Kane shouted, pointing toward the ship. Slowly, a form emerged from the red glow, a shape both familiar and alien. It resembled a human silhouette but was fluid, like molten metal wrapped around a beating core of light. Its eyes were infinite, reflecting the stars and the world they had just discovered. Mira stepped closer, instinctively reaching out. What are you?" "I am the fold made flesh," the being said, its voice reverberating through space and mind alike. "You used me recklessly, yet you survived. Now you must learn, or everything will be undone." The pulse quickened. The red glow expanded, sending waves of energy across the deck and into the planet below. The Erebus groaned, alive in a way no machine should. Mira clenched her fists. "Then we learn. We survive. And we finish what humanity started, with knowledge, not ignorance." The light being regarded her, then bowed slightly. "Very well. Let the trial begin." The city of crystal towers below shone brighter, reflecting in the alien sky. Waves of energy pulsed outward, touching the ship, the crew, and the ground they stood upon. For the first time they felt connected, to each other, to the planet, and to the living ship that had brought them here. Myra's heart pounded. She knew the road ahead would be impossible, dangerous, and beyond anything humanity had faced before. But for the first time, hope felt real. And somewhere, deep inside the core of the Erebus, the fold waited, patient, intelligent, and ready. The city of crystal towers stretched endlessly before the crew of the Erebus, gleaming under the flowing sky like a monument to time itself. Mira led her crew cautiously, each step sending tiny ripples across the glass-like ground. The pulse from the ship's core throbbed in rhythm with the planet, almost guiding them toward the towering structures ahead. "This place," Lyra whispered. "It's alive. I can feel it in my bones." "Yes," Mira said, her voice steady, though her mind raced. "And whatever we're about to face, it knows we're here." The tallest light being stepped forward, its glowing form towering over them. "The trial begins now. You will face not what lies outside, but what lies within. Your fears, your doubts, your failures, they manifest here. Survive them, and the fold will teach you. Fail, and all that is tethered to you will vanish." Kane clenched his fists. "So it's psychological? Some trick?" "No," the being replied, its voice echoing in their minds. "It is not a trick. It is a reflection of reality, distorted, amplified, and personal. Your courage, your ingenuity, your unity will be tested. Only through understanding yourselves will you survive." The ground beneath their feet rippled suddenly, and the world shifted. The crystal towers twisted, the flowing rivers of light spiraled violently, and the sky darkened, replaced by a void speckled with stars that weren't stars, memories, possibilities, nightmares. Mira steadied herself. "Form a line. We face this together. Remember, we're humanity. We adapt. We survive." The first wave appeared. Shadows of the crew's own faces, twisted and exaggerated, emerged from the flowing light. They moved like marionettes of fear, mimicking past failures and regrets. Lyra gasped as she saw herself drowning in space, screaming as the Erebus slipped away from her grip, a memory from the fold jump. "Focus on what's real," Mira shouted. "These aren't us. They're reflections." Kane's shadow charged at him, screaming in his voice all the things he feared: failure, shame, the death of his family back home. Kane gritted his teeth and swung his arm through the illusion. The shadow shattered into sparks of light, fading into nothingness. Mira turned to face her own reflection, herself screaming at the bridge, panicked as the anomaly consumed the ship. Her heart raced, the memory vivid and terrifying. She forced herself to breathe, grounding in the present. "I survived then. I survive now." She stepped forward, and the shadow crumbled. The crew moved as one, fighting through the manifestations of fear. The red glow of the ship's core pulsed faster with every victory, syncing with their heartbeat, growing warmer and brighter. Then the light being spoke again. You understand fear. You understand survival. But fear is only the first lesson. The fold demands more. The ground rippled once more, shifting them into a new realm, a mirrored city where the towers were made of flowing red energy, the rivers of light replaced with shadowy currents. Gravity pulled at them unevenly, disorienting, bending space around them. Where are we now? Lyra whispered. A test of unity, the voice responded. You will find that cooperation is more powerful than courage alone. Your ship, your minds, your hearts, they are connected. Only together will you move forward. Suddenly, a massive form emerged, a shadowy version of the Erebus, alive, pulsating, its hull jagged and black, exuding a menacing energy. It mirrored the real ship perfectly, including every crew member inside, except twisted, distorted, and aggressive. It's us. Kane stammered. Yes, Mira said grimly. But not the real us. We fight them together. The battle began. The shadow ship lashed out, tentacle-like appendages wrapping around the real Erebus, trying to crush it. The crew inside coordinated with Mira, firing weapons, rerouting power, and guiding the ship through impossible maneuvers. Every time they succeeded, the red glow of the core flared, as if responding to their unity. Lyra shouted, "Keep moving. Don't let it match us." Mira barked orders like she had for years. Now. Fire everything at the right flank. Kane, stabilize the engines. Lyra, shield alignment. Bit by bit, they forced the shadow ship back. Each action required trust, coordination, and quick thinking. The illusion tried to exploit fear and doubt, but the crew had learned, individually strong, but stronger together. Finally, with one synchronized effort, they directed a pulse of energy from the core directly into the shadow, shattering it. Light exploded, washing over the mirrored city, and the world shifted back into the crystal towers of reality. The pulse inside the Erebus slowed, harmonizing with the planet, no longer aggressive but calm, intelligent, and waiting. The tallest being stepped forward again, their glow brighter than before. You have learned courage. You have learned unity. But one final lesson remains, understanding. To wield the fold is to understand the consequences of creation. Only then can you return to your world and survive what awaits. Mira took a deep breath, feeling the pulse of the ship beneath her boots. Then we learn. Whatever it takes. The light beings nodded. Come. The final trial begins. The sky rippled above, a swirling portal of color and light, beckoning them forward. The city hummed with energy, and the crew felt the red pulse of the Erebus sync with it. Somewhere inside, the fold was alive, waiting, and ready to teach. The air thrummed with energy as Mira and her crew approached the swirling portal above the crystal city. The red pulse from the Erebus's core resonated like a heartbeat, and every step forward made the ground beneath their feet hum. The fold was alive, aware, and now calling them to the final trial. Mira turned to her crew. This is it. The final step. Stay focused. Trust each other. We either learn, or we die trying. Kane swallowed, his hands shaking. Captain, what exactly are we walking into? Mira didn't answer. She didn't need to. The glowing portal rippled with impossible colors, light bending and twisting as if time itself were flowing through it. The pulse of the ship seemed to stretch toward it, and they felt, collectively, that the fold itself was reaching out. The tallest light being floated forward, gesturing toward the portal. Inside, you will confront the truth. The fold is not merely a tool of transportation. It is a reflection of your choices, your morality, your essence. Only by understanding it, and yourselves, can you survive what comes next. Lyra whispered, awestruck, it's alive. It wants something from us. Yes, Mira said firmly. It wants us to prove we're worthy of it. That we can wield it without destroying ourselves, or the universe. One by one, the crew stepped through the portal. The light enveloped them, warm and cold at the same time, filling every corner of their minds. The moment Mira entered, the world around her dissolved into pure energy, waves of red and blue, streams of light flowing like rivers through her vision. Inside, she could hear the thoughts of her crew. Cain struggling to keep fear from controlling him, Lyra marveling at the beauty and danger of the fold, and the others clinging to courage. Their voices were separate yet intertwined, forming a web of trust and determination. The fold manifested before them. It was no longer confined to the engine core. A massive, fluid shape of light and metal, shifting constantly, reflecting stars, cities, and faces they had never seen. Its voice filled their minds, deep and resonant. You have crossed boundaries meant to be untouched. You have survived when none should. Now you must prove your understanding of creation, balance, and consequence. Mira stepped forward. We accept your trial. Show us what we must learn. Suddenly, visions erupted around them. Mira saw herself failing, losing her crew, watching the Erebus torn apart by anomalies. She saw humanity making the same mistakes, repeating cycles of greed, conflict, and destruction. Every regret, every fear, every wrong decision played out before her eyes. Cain cried out as he faced visions of his family, lives he might never live, choices he feared he would fail to make. Lyra saw herself drowning in space, reliving the fold jump over and over. The fold's voice was gentle now, yet immense. This is not to punish you. This is to teach you. Creation carries responsibility. Choice carries consequence. To wield power is to understand your place in the web of existence. Mira closed her eyes and drew a deep breath. She reached inward, feeling the pulse of the Erebus, the planet beneath them, the energy of the fold. And for the first time, she understood. Survival alone was not enough. Humanity must act with purpose, unity, and awareness of the consequences of their actions. Opening her eyes, she extended her hand toward the fold. We understand. We accept the responsibility. We will protect what we can, guide what we must, and learn from what we've seen. The fold pulsed brighter than ever, its energy flowing through them like rivers of light. The visions of fear and failure dissolved, replaced by clarity, understanding, purpose, and the raw potential of what humanity could achieve. Cain, Lyra, and the rest of the crew felt it too. The pulse of the ship and the planet synced with their hearts. The fold had recognized them not just as survivors, but as worthy. The tallest light being appeared beside them, bowing slightly. You have passed. You are no longer mere children of Earth. You are the stewards of possibility. The fold now belongs to you, not as a weapon, but as a teacher. The portal shimmered and stabilized. The city of crystal towers below pulsed with life, a silent celebration of their success. The crew felt the weight of history, responsibility, and hope settle upon them. Mira looked at her crew. We did it. Not because we're strong, but because we understood. The fold's pulse slowed, calm and harmonious now. The Erebus hummed in response, its core glowing softly, as if alive, intelligent, and waiting to follow its new stewards home. The light beings stepped back. Your trial is complete. Return to your world. Carry what you have learned. Humanity has another chance, but only if it chooses wisely. Mira nodded. We will. And for the first time in weeks, maybe longer, the crew of the Erebus felt hope. Not blind hope. Not hope born of luck. But the hope that comes from understanding, from courage, and from the defiance of impossibility itself. The portal stabilized, the ship's engines hummed at full power, and the Erebus prepared to return to the universe that had almost lost it. The Erebus floated in the portal's calm light, engines humming steadily, no longer a vessel of desperation but a beacon of purpose. Captain Mira Voss stood on the bridge, staring at the swirling colors of the fold one last time. The city of crystal towers below shimmered, a silent promise that knowledge and responsibility had been earned, not given. Cain leaned against the console, shaking his head in disbelief. I still can't believe we survived. I thought we were done for every step of the way. Mira turned to him, her eyes soft but resolute. We survived because we learned, Cain. We faced our fears, our failures, and our choices. That's something no one else could have done for us. Lyra adjusted her comm headset, still marveling at the pulse flowing through the ship. And the fold, it's alive. It responded to us. It trusted us. Mira nodded. Not because it's forgiving, but because it knows we can carry responsibility. The light beings appeared on the viewport one last time. Their glowing forms stretched gracefully, faces serene and wise. You have passed all trials. The fold has awakened within you. Use it with care. Humanity will never be the same again, not because of what you wield, but because of what you now understand. The portal began to shrink slowly, the fold's energy stabilizing as if the universe itself exhaled. The city below faded from view, returning to the quiet void from which they had come, leaving only memory, lesson, and pulse. Set course for home, Mira commanded. Let's see if Earth is ready for what we've become. The crew worked in silence, each of them reflecting on everything they had faced. Shadows of fear, failure, and uncertainty had been replaced with clarity, purpose, and the bond of a team that had survived the impossible together. As the Erebus passed through the last shimmer of the portal, the stars returned to their familiar patterns. Yet everything felt different, as if the universe itself had shifted in recognition of what humanity had achieved. Suddenly, the ship's core pulsed warmly, and the fold's energy spread gently through the vessel, illuminating every hallway, every deck, every console. It was alive, but not threatening, a guide, a teacher, a living testament to what humanity could achieve when it defied the odds with courage and unity. Mira placed her hand on the console, feeling the pulse in harmony with her heartbeat. We came here to survive, she said softly. But we leave having learned how to thrive. Kane glanced at the view of the stars ahead. Do you think anyone back home will understand what we've seen? Maybe not, Mira said, a faint smile forming. But it doesn't matter. Knowledge, courage, and responsibility are worth more than understanding alone. We've been given a second chance, not just for us, but for everyone. The ship glided through the silent cosmos, the hum of the fold now a gentle rhythm, a heartbeat of something far greater than anyone human. Somewhere in the infinite darkness of space, the anomaly waited, patient and watchful. But the crew of the Erebus were no longer afraid. They had faced the impossible, survived, and emerged not just as humans, but as stewards of a power beyond comprehension. And in that moment, humanity's place in the universe was no longer small. It was defiant, brilliant, and alive. The stars stretched endlessly before them, and the Erebus sailed forward, carrying hope, knowledge, and the weight of a future yet to be written.